We are beginning the first academic session. I request Professor Sangsen Singh to come to the dais. He will be chairing the session, and the speaker for the first session is Professor Vimalendra Kumar from BHU.
Most respected chairman of the session, Professor Sangsen Singh, distinguished resource persons, participants, research scholars, teachers of the cuts, and most venerable monks. It is indeed a great pleasure for me to get associated with this teacher meet on the dimensions of Buddhism, doctrines and trends, organized by ICPR in collaboration with CUTS. I have been given a topic, Theravada, Four Noble Truth and Law of Dependent Origination. These two topics are too vast and it is very difficult to complete within 1 hour. I will try myself best to complete these two cardinal principles of Buddhism within an hour. As we know that Four Noble Truths is the cardinal teachings of the Buddha. This is called Four Noble Truth since it was experienced by the Buddha, who was an Arya himself. And it has been defined by Buddha in the teachings that Yasman Paneti Adi Buddha Adayo Arya Patibhijanti Tasma Arya Satchaniti Bucchati. That since it was experienced by the Buddha, who was the Tathagat one, who was an Arya one, this is called as a Four Noble Truth. This is called cardinal teachings of the Buddha since it gives the teachings related with that there is the suffering and there is the cessation of suffering. Buddha also says that I teach only two things, Dvime bhikkhave desemi dukkham cha dukh nirodham cha. And in the Four Noble Truth, which is the part of the Dhammacakka Pavattana Sutta, which was the uttered at Saranath by the Buddha, and it is considered as the first utterance of the Buddha at Saranath as a teachings of the Buddha. We find that there is the Four Noble Truth, Eightfold Path, and there is a discussion about the law of dependent origination. The truth which was realized by the Buddha at the Bodhi tree, this is called as Arya Satya. That noble truth which was experienced at the time of the Buddha, you can say enlightenment at the Bodhi tree. And this was that how Buddha got the enlightenment after knowing the Four Noble Truth. This is called as Four Noble Truth. As we know that there are the Four Noble Truth, that is that there is a suffering, there is a cause of suffering, there is a cessation of suffering, there is a path which leads towards the cessation of suffering. Dukha Arya Satyam, Dukh Samudaya Arya Satyam, Dukh Nirodham Arya Satyam, Dukh Nirodha Gamani Patipada Arya Satyam. As we are going to discuss the Four Noble Truth and the Eightfold Path and law of dependent originations based upon the Theravada, I have tried to complete all these, you can say, lecture based upon the materials which are available in the Pali literature. Since Theravada is considered as the doctrine of the elders, and these doctrines of elders has been compiled in the Pali language and literature. And we know that this Pali literature has the three main, you can say, Vinay Pitak, Sut Pitak, and Abhidhamma Pitak. And I have tried to complete all these, you can say, Four Noble Truth and Law of Dependent Resolutions based upon the Tripitak as well as on the commentaries available on these three Pitakas. I am not going to discuss about the Theravad because Theravad is considered as the real teachings of the Buddha. And Nalana Siddhartha also says that this Theravad is considered as not as a doctrine, but it is considered as an orthodoxy which fought against the Mahasanghikas. And since in the commentary of the Vinaya, we also find that this Theravad is nothing but the Vibhajyavad, and which has guarded, preserved, and you can say protected the original teachings of the Buddha. And that is why it is called as, you can say, original teachings of the Buddha, that is the Theravad doctrine of the elders. In a very brief manner, we are going to discuss the All Four Noble Truth, then we will come to the Eightfold Path. Since it has been stated in the by Professor Pradeep Gokhale that we have to discuss only the concepts and how it has evolved by the later acharyas in the commentaries and how it has interpreted by the modern scholars nowadays. So here Dukkha Arya Satya, it has been defined in the Dhammacakka Pavatana Sutta that Jati pi dukkha, Jara pi dukkha, Maranam pi dukkham, Apyehi sampayogo dukkho, Pyehi vipayogo dukkho, Yam pi iksham tam na labti tam pi dukkham, Sankhitena panchopadana khandati dukkha. That to take birth is the suffering, to become old is the suffering, to die is the suffering, to get associated with the undesirable persons is the suffering, to get a separation from the desired persons to familiar persons is the suffering, and whatever we are wishing and not getting, yampi iksham tam na labati tampi dukkham, that this is also a suffering. And in brief it has been said that clinging or grasping towards the five aggregates, panchas khandhas, is called as suffering. The literal meaning of dukh is kaik asata vedanati dukkham or dukkarena khamti iti dukkham, that disagreeable feeling which is being experienced by our body is called as dukkha. I am not going to discuss it because in the commentaries this Dukkha Arya Satya has been discussed in a very deep manner. Because of discussing all the other points, I am going to another aspect, Dukkha Samudaya Arya Satyam, that there is a cause of suffering, and it is said that Yayam Tanha Panobhavika Nandi Rag Sahagata Tatra Tatra Abhinandani Sethitam Kamatana Bhautana Vibhavtana, that whatever the desire, Yayam Tanha, that which is moves from one place to another place. And there are three types of desires, that is the Kama Tanha, Bhautanha and Vibhavtanha. This desire related with the sensual pleasure or the sensual experience which is being experienced by our five senses is called as Kama Tanha. Bhautanha is, that is a desire to remain in this process of repeated existence is called as Bhautanha. Vibhavtanha, that for the destruction from this process of repeated existence is called as Vibhavtanha. So this is the, you can say, Dukkha Samudaya Arya Satyam. Dukkha Nirodha Arya Satyam, that is the, there is a cessation of, you can say, suffering. It is said that when there is a cause, that desire, Yayam Tanha Panobhavika, that this desire which comes into existence again and again, and the desire is the main cause of the suffering. So Tassa Yayam Tanha तस्साय अशेष विरागो पटिनिसिगो मुक्ति अनालयोति dukh nirodha arya sacham. That there is a cessation of suffering, that until unless we do not remove our desire, there is a no, you can say, cessation of suffering. So this is another name of Nibbana, a state of eternal bliss. Buddha also says that tanhai vippahanena nibbanam tam brumi, that where there is the total destruction of the desires, kamatana, bhautana, vibhavtana, this is called as a, you can say, Nibbana. Nibbana is also made up of two words, ni and van. Van is here in the sense of desires, and ni is in the sense of nisedha, that is the negation. So here, where there is the total destruction, where there is no house of the desires, that state is called as dukh nirodha arya sacham. The fourth truth is the dukh nirodha gamini patipada arya sacham, that there is a path which leads towards the cessation of suffering. In the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, we find that Buddha says that dveme anta pabhajitena na savitabba, that, O monks, two extremes cannot be followed by a person who has renounced the household life. What are the two extremes? Dvayanta kamesu kam sukhillikano yogo hino gammo pathujanko anaryo anat sahito athkil mathano yogo hino gammo pathujanko anaryo anat sahito. That there are two extremes, that is the association with the sensual pleasure and association with the self-mortifications, and these are the ignobles, anarya, and they do not lead towards any meaningful life. And again Buddha says that ubho anta majhima patipada tathagatena abhisambuddha chakshu karne yan karne upsambha nibbana samatati, that in between these two extremes there is a middle path which leads towards the chakshu karni, that is the gives wisdom to the eye, nibbana samatati, and which leads towards the state of eternal bliss. And again there is a question that katmacha sa bhikkave majhima patipada, that what is that middle path? Then it is said that ayme ariya thangi kummaggo seditam sammaditthi samma sankappo samma vacha samma kamanto samma ajibo samma vyamo samma sati samma samadhi. So these are the eight noble paths which constitutes, there are eight constituents in this eightfold path. That is the sammaditthi to, you can say, samma samadhi. The first two, that is the samma ditthi and samma sankappa, they are, you can say, signifying the, you can say, panya. The remaining three are signifying the seal, and the rest three are called as, you can say, samadhi. So these three, you can say, steps, seal, samadhi and panya, these are the three steps for getting a state of eternal bliss. Again, the whole teachings of the Buddha can be summarized in one verse, that is the sabba papasa karanam kusalasa upasampada sachit paryodpannam etam buddhan sasanam. That here, don't do immoral things, do moral things, and purify your consciousness. This is the teachings of the Buddha. So sabba papasa karanam, this signifies the first, that is the seal, and that is the do moral things, that is the, you can say, samadhi, and purify your consciousness, this signifies the panya. So these are the three steps, and even in the Samyukta Nikaya, in the Jata Sutta, we find that silepati thai naroso panyo chittam panyam cha bhavayam atapi nipko bhikkho so imam vijete jatamti, that establishing in the path of the virtue seal, if one may develop consciousness, that is the samadhi, he can disentangle the tangle, that is the, you can say, jata or trishna. So these are the three steps. In a very brief manner, I am going to discuss all these, you can say, eightfold path in a very brief manner. First is called as, you can say, again these whatever I have taken diagram, this has been given, that the first two are signifying the wisdom, that is the right understanding. Second is the, you can say, samadhi, seal, and the lastly you can say samadhi. First, I am coming to the first, that is the Majjhima Patipada. We have already discussed that what is the middle path, that Majjhima Patipada is nothing but it is the Ariya Athangiko Maggo, that is the Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappo, Samma Vacha. So I am coming to the first, what are the vision of this Seal, Samadhi and Panya for getting a state of eternal bliss. First, I am coming to the constituent of Eightfold Path, Samma Ditti. It is made up of two words, Samma and Ditti. Samma is the right and Ditti means vision or understanding. Samma Dasanam Ti Samma Ditti. There is a sutta which is also called as Samma Ditti in the Majjhima Nikaya, which constitute one of the 152 suttas of Majjhima Nikaya. In the Majjhima Nikaya, Sammaditthi Sutta, Sariputta says that who can possesses the right vision or right understanding. And it is said that yo akusalam cha pajanati, yo ari sabko akusal mulam cha pajanati, kusalam cha pajanati, kusal mulam cha pajanati, etta vetta pikho ariye sabko Sammaditthi hoti. That if a person who knows the akusala, and one who knows the roots of the kusala, and who knows the kusala, and who knows the roots of the kusala, he is in the possession of Sammaditthi. Again, there are so many that a person who knows that, I am not going to discuss that what is kusal, akusal. Everyone is, I think, knowing that what is akusal and kusal, and what are the kusal mul and what are the akusal mul. Again, in Sammaditthi Sutta it is said that yo aharam cha pajanati, ahar samudaya cha pajanati, ahar nirodham cha pajanati, ahar nirodha kamni patipada pajanati, etta vatta fikhoriya sabiko Sammaditthi hoti. Then Sariputta says that one who knows the dukkha ariya satcham, dukh nirodham ariya satcham, dukh samudaya ariya satcham, dukh nirodha ariya satcham, dukh nirodha gamni patipada ariya satcham, he is in the possession of the Sammaditthi. And one disciple, Arya Savak, one who knows the 12 links of the law of dependent origination, he is in the possession of the Sammaditthi. Here in the Sammaditthi, Eightfold Path, it is nothing but the knowing of the Four Noble Truth, law of dependent originations, law of conditionality, law of the past existence, law of the present existence, law of the present and past existence. It is said that dukkhe yanam, dukh samudaya yanam, dukh nirodham yanam, dukh nirodha gamani patpada yanam, id pachayata yanam, patismukpannesu dhammesu yanam, aparantam yanam, pubanta aparantam yanam. Like knowing all these things is called as right visions. In a very primitive, it is, you can say, knowledge of the Four Noble Truth, law of dependent origination, law of conditionality, law of, you can say, past, present and future. This is called as Sammaditthi. Again, the second is the Samma Sankappa, the right determinations. Buddha says that Nekham Sankappayo, Abhyapad Sankappayo, Avihinsa Sankappo. There are three things that determinations related with the renouncing the household life, Nekham Sankappo. Second is the Abhyapad, not to harm others and develop a kind of friendliness among the others, other people. And lastly, to develop a consciousness of compassion. This is called as right intentions or the right determinations. Nekham Sankappo, Abhyapad Sankappo, Avihinsa Sankappo. Here Avihinsa is the name of the Karuna. Karuna is kam iti dukkham, runati iti tam pavisati binasai bhaimati cha. That Karuna is nothing, it is a verbal sympathy to the others. But how to enter into the consciousness of the persons and to remove the suffering of that person is called as Avihinsa or Karuna. So this is the third, and these are the three determinations. The third is the Samma Vacha. Musavada Birati, Pisuna Vacha Birati, Farusa Vacha Birati, Samphalapo Birati. That refraining from telling a lie, refraining from harsh speech, refraining from ignoble speech, ignoring from, you can say, harsh speech. These are the four, you can say, abstinence or refraining from the speech is called as, you can say, samma vacha. Next is the samma kamantu, that is the right action. Panati pata birati, adinna dana birati, kamesu nikshachara birati, that refraining from killing a living being, refraining from taking a thing which is not given to you, and refraining from indulging in sexual misdeeds is called as samma kamantu. Next is the right samma ajivo, right livelihood. Michha ajiv, michha ajiv pahai samma ajiv kena jivakam kappeti iti samma ajivo. That referring from all, you can say, bad livelihood is called as samma ajiva. That whatever the, you can say, bad livelihood, we have to remove it. And Buddha further says that for the upaskas or for the, you can say, laity persons, there are 5 professions which should not be followed. These are the Sat Banija, Mas Banija, Bis Banija, Sat, Bis, that you can say, trade in the flesh, trade in the poison, trade in the weapon, trade in the slave, and trade in the intoxicants. These are the 5, you can say, trade which cannot be followed by a laity persons. Then the next is the, you can say, samma vyamo, right effort. There are 4, you can say, efforts. That is the upannanam akuslanam dhammanam anupadaya vyamo, that there must be an effort to remove, to not to arise the unwholesome, you can say, states, or akuslanam dhammanam. Second is the akuslanam dhammanam pahanaya vyamo, that there must be an effort to remove the arisen unwholesome states. And third is the, you can say, upannanam akuslanam upadaya vyamo, that there must be an effort to develop or to arise the moral states, kusala dhamma. And fourth is the, you can say, upannanam kuslanam dhammaya thitiya sammosai bhyapullai sambadhati, that there must be an effort to you can say, established the moral dhammas which have already arisen. The next is the samma sati. Sati is the mindfulness, anu anusaranamti sati, that remembering again and again, this is called as sati. Sati has the great, you can say, importance in the vipassana or meditations, you can say. Buddha in the Satipatthana Sutta says that ekayano evam maggo sattana visuddhiya dadidam chattaro satipatthana kayanupassana, vedananupassana, chittanupassana, dhammanupassana. That Buddha says that sati or mindfulness is the only one path for getting a state of eternal bliss, and they are 4 in number. That is the awareness related with the physical parts, kayanupassana, Vedananupassana, that being alert towards the all 5 types of, you can say, feeling, being alert to all the mental states and the mind, and lastly that all the being alert towards the all the dhammas. These are the 4 main, you can say, kinds of the mindfulness. I am not going to discuss in a very detailed manner because we have to discuss all these, you can say, things. So last is the right concentration, that is the samma samadhi. Samadhi has been defined by Acharya Buddha Ghosh in Visuddhimagga, that kusal chitas ekaggatati samadhi, that it is the one pointedness of the moral consciousness. It is of 2 types, Rup Samadhi and Arup Samadhi. Rup Samadhi is of 5 types, that is the वितक विचार पीति सुख एकता सहितम पठम झानम, विचार पीति सुख एकता सहितम द्वितीय झानम, पीति सुख एकता सहितम तृतीय झानम, सुख एकता सहितम चतुर्थ झानम, एंड उपेक्षा एकगता सहितम पंचम झानम. And Arup Samadhi is of 4 types, that is the Akasanchayatan, Bhyananchayatan, Akincha Ayatan, Nevsaya Nasaya Ayatans. So this is the, you can say, Samadhi is the name of the Rup Samadhi and the Arup Samadhi. Now we are coming to the second part of the lecture, that is the Patisamuchpad and law of dependent origination. This law of dependent origination is the profound teachings of the Buddha. And even we know that at the time of the enlightenment, Buddha says that I will not preach. Then after the request and instigation of the Sahampati Brahma, he agreed to preach. Otherwise, he was telling that whatever I have realized the truth, it is very profound and it is not easy to understand the common people. This law of dependent origination is the profound. And even Ananda also says that this law of dependent origination is very profound teachings of the Buddha. But the Buddha says that don't say that this is the very profound and it is not understandable, because the common people are not able to realize the true nature of the reality, that is the all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, and all dhammas are subject to soulless. That is why they are not able to understand the law of dependent origination. So here law of dependent originations, many theories have been given by the scholars related with the term Patisamuchpad. I am not going to discuss in a very, you can say, detailed manner. But Patisamuchpad, it has been said that there is no self-independent entity. Everything comes into existence dependent on some cause and conditions. There is no any thing which does not come based upon any cause, hetu, and condition, that is the pachay. In the Mahanidana Sutta of Majjhima Nikaya, it is said that imasmim sati idam hoti, imasmim asati idam no hoti, imas upada idam upajjati, imas nirodha idam niruchyati. That based upon this there is the existence of the this, and because of this there is the appearance of this, and because of this there is the, you can say, dissolution or cessation of that. There are, we know that there are the 12 links in the law of dependent relations, that is the abhijja pachay, sankhara, sankhara pachay, bhyan, bhyan pachay, namarup, namarup pachay, fasso, fasso pachay, salaytan, salaytan pachay, vedana, vedana pachay, tanha, tanha pachay, upadan, upadan pachay, bhav, bhav pachay, jati, jati pachay, ajaraman. These are the 12 links which constitute, you can say, the whole process of repeated existence. The first two, that is the avidya and the sankhara, they constitute the past existence, and the last two, that is the jati and the jaramaran, they are signifying the future, and the remaining, you can say, 8 are, you can say, signifying the present state of existence. So this is the total, you can say, 12 links of the law of dependent originations. In the very brief manner, I will discuss all the 12 links. So I am discussing that how the chart of the Pratityasamutpad has been, you can say, decided. So there are 4, you can say, divisions. If you find that it has been divided into the Upatti Bhav and the Kamma Bhav. There are 2, you can say, processes. And the whole, you can say, Abhijja, Sankhara, Tanha, Upadan and Bhav, it comes in as a one unit. The whole, you can say, there are 20, you can say, unity. That is why it is all the 12 links have been divided into 3 periods. That is the Atit Kal, Pachupanna Kal and the Anagat Kal. And again there are Visati Akar, there are the 20, you can say, modes of the law of dependent originations, and there are 3 but and kleshas also. So all these have been discussed in this, you can say, whole, you can say, chart. And it is said that the avijja and the tanha, these two are the roots, that is the mool of the law of dependent origination, that is the whole process of repeated existence. I am coming to the first unit because of lack of time. I have just half an hour to complete all these, you can say, law of dependent origination. The first is called as avijja. Avijja is dukhe ayanam, dukh samuday ayanam, dukh nirodham ayanam, dukh nirodha gamani patipada ayanam, idhapachayata ayanam, patich samupannesu dhammesu ayanam. Not knowing the Four Noble Truth, that there is the suffering, there is the cause of suffering, there is a cessation of suffering, there is a path which leads toward the suffering. There is a one who does not know the, you can say, law of dependent origination, one who does not know the law of conditionality. This is called as avijja. So because of avijja is also called as dham sabhav patichadhan lakhana, that it has the characteristics to cover the nature of the reality, that all things are subject to impermanence, all things are subject to suffering, and all dhammas are subject to soulless. So this is the, due to ignorance, we are not able to know the nature of the reality, anicca, dukkha and anatma. Second is the sankhara, that is the, it has been translated as the mental activities or mental dispositions. There are threefold, you can say, activities. The whole, you can say, punya abhisankhara, apunya abhisankhara and ananja sankhara. All the, you can say, activities have been divided into 3 parts. The all immoral, you can say, 12 types of consciousness, akusala chitta, they are signifying the punya abhisankhara, and the moral 12 types of, 8 types of kamavachar, kusala chitta, and 5 types of rupavachar kusala chitta. All the 13 types of consciousness, they are signifying the punya abhisankhara, and the remaining 32 types of, you can say, activities or the mental, you can say, factors, they are signifying the ananja sankhara. So this mental activities is the name of the 13 types 13 types of kusala, mental dispositions, 12 types of apunya abhisankhara, and the 32 types of, you can say, ananja sankhara. So this is the, you can say, mental dispositions. Third is the birth consciousness, that is the biyan. Again, sankhara pachaya biyan. Biyan is the another name of the rebirth consciousness. And in the Abhidhamma terminology, that this birth consciousness is the name of any one of the 29 types of consciousness. It has been said in the, you can say, that in kamavachar there are 8 kusal mahabhipaka, and then 12 types of akusal chitta, and then 5 types of rupavachar, and then in the arupavachar there are 4. So altogether there are 29 types of consciousness which signify the any one of the birth consciousness. So for taking, you can say, beyond, there is only one, you can say. So this is the, at the time of the, you can say, patisandhi, or the, you can say, taking birth, it is the name of any one of the 29 types of consciousness. The next is the, you can say, nama rupa. So here beyond pachaya nama rupa, here nama rupa is made up of 2 words, nam and rupa. Nam has been defined as namati iti namam, that which leans towards the object is called as nama. Again, in Dhammasangani, there is a question tat katamam namam. It has been defined as a Vedana khando, Sanya khando, Sankhar khando, Biyan khando, Asankata cha dhatu idam bucchati nibbanam. So here, Nam is the name of the Vedana, Sanya and Sankhar, which is another name of the Chetsik, and 89 types of Chit and Asankata cha dhatu. This is called as Nama. Roop has been defined as, you can say, in suttas in different way, that yam kinchi roopam atit anagata pachpannam va ajhattam va bahidda va ularikam va sukhumam va hirnam va panitam va tad ekajam abhisanyutva idam bujjati roopam. That whatever the past, present and the future, whatever the gross and the subtle, whatever the low and the, you can say, excellent, this is the name of the Rupa. But in the Dhammasangani, Rupa has been defined as Chattaro cha Mahabhuta Chatunnam cha Mahabhutanam Upadai Idam Bucchati Sabbam Rupam. There are 4 basic material qualities, Pathvi, Apo, Tejo, Bayo, and there are 24 types of Upada Rupa. There are altogether 28 types of Rupa, which is called as Rupa. So Nam Roop is, you can say, another name of the Panchakhanda. A man is the personality which constitutes of the Panchakhanda, that is the Rupa Khanda, Vedana Khanda, Sanya Khanda, Sankhar Khanda and Biyan Khanda. So there is no any, you can say, permanent entity in the personality of a being, or you can say soul in the personality. These are the 5, you can say, Khandhas, that is the, you can say, Roop, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhar and Biyan. These are the 5 constituents which are constituting a personality of a being. In Milind Pahyo, we also find that na hetap galopalabdi, there is no concept or there is no permanent entity of, you can say, in the personality of a being. Sankha samaya payati boharo namamattam jadidam nagasenoti suraseno birseno sihaseno. That whatever for the sake of calling a person, we call Nagasen, Sursen, Birsen or Sihasen. So this is the Namarupa, you can say, that which is based upon the, you can say, Biyan. And based upon the Namarupa, there is the 6 ayatanaj. We are having the 6 senses, Chakhu, Sot, Ghana, Jihva, Kai and Mana. And based upon the 6 senses, there are the, you can, 6 senses, there are the 6 bases, you can say, Chakhayatan, Sotayatan, Ghanayatan, Jivayatan, Kayatan and Manayatan. So these are the, you can say, so based upon the our Nam and Rupa, there is the, you can say, existence of the 6 senses. And based upon the 6 senses, there is the first, you can say, Chakshu Sampasa Chakshu Biyanam Upajati, Sota Sampasa Chakshu Sota Biyanam Upajati. Like that, based whenever there is the contact of the object with the respective senses, there is the arising of the, you can say, consciousness. So that is why it is called as first, you can say. Then first Pachaya Vedana. Vedana has been that defined as Anubhav Lakkhanati Vedana. That Vedana is that which is being experienced by touching any things. There are 6 senses, Chakku, Sot, Ghana, Jihva, Kai and Mana. And based upon that, there is the, you can say, feeling, you can say, Kai Sampasa, Chakku Sampasa, Chakku Biyanam, Sot Sampasa, Sot Biyanam. Like that, there are, you can say, so whenever there are the 5 Vedanas, that is the Somanas Vedana, Sukha Vedana, Domanas Vedana, Dukha Vedana and Upekha Vedana. Altogether there are the 5 types of, you can say, Vedana which are constituting this Vedana. So it is based upon the first, there is the, you can say, arising of the Vedana. And then Vedana, on the basis of the Vedana, there is the existence or arising of the Tanha. Whenever there is the, you can say, contact of any sense with the respective object, there is the arising of get association with that object. Whenever our eye sees any beautiful object, it has the associations to get associated with that respective object. In that way, there is the arising of the trishna or desire, you can say. So that is the main cause of, we have already discussed that avidya and the tanha, these are the main two roots for the, you can say, this process of repeated existence. Based upon the tanha, there is the arising of the upadan. Upadan is called as dalha, you can say tanha, that is that whenever any desire is being translated into an action, this is called as upadan. Or you can say whenever a desire turns into to get hold of that object, that is called as, you can say, upadan. That balvati tanhati upadanam bucchati. So this desire is comes into depending upon the trishna or tanha. Based upon the upadan, there is the existence of the bhava. That we have already seen that in the Sankharas, there are the altogether 13 types of kusala, 12 types of akusala, and 32 types of ananja avisankhar. So these are the 32 types of moral and immoral resultant of the actions which have been done in our past existence. There is the existence of the bhava, that is the process of repeated existence. So it is another name of the 29 types of consciousness. Any one of the 29 types of consciousness is called as, you can say, sankhara, that is the bhava. Then jati. Jati is the birth, you can say. Here panchkhandhanam patu bhavo, that whenever there is the existence of the panchkhand, rupa khand, vedana khand, sanya khand, sankhar khand, and biyana khand, this is called as jati, you can say. And in the real sense, in the Abhidhamma philosophy, it is any one of the 19 types of resultant consciousness as the kamma bij, you can say. And this 19 in Kamavachara Kusal Chitta, there are only 2 types of consciousness which are, you can say, responsible for getting a state of, you can say, birth. And out of the, you can say, Kamavachara Kusala, there are 8. So altogether in Kamavachara there are, you can say, 10 types of consciousness which are responsible for birth. There are 5 types of in Rupavachar, and there are 5 types of consciousness in Arupavachar. So altogether there are 9 types of consciousness which act as a kamma bij or seed of the action of the all immoral and immoral actions done in our past existence. Then lastly, you can say this is the jati and jara marana, that if there is the birth, there will be, you can say, jara, becoming old, and you can say marana. So jara in the khandicham, you can say, of whenever all the panchkhandas, they are, you can say, whenever there are the wrinkles on the body, when the bones of the body are, you can say, become weak, this is the state of the jara. And maran is called as jivit indriyas upachedoti maranam. Maran has been, you can say, translated in Pali in many ways, machu, maran, like you can say. But here it is in the sense of that whenever there is the destruction of the panchkhandas or destruction of the life vitality, that is the jivit indriyas upachedo, this is the name of the marana. So these are the 12 links, and even in Tibetan Thangka painting, all these 12 types of law of dependent originations, they have been engraved here. So you see that the whole, there are 3 layers in this, you can say, Thangka painting, that and this 3 layers of the existence is being, you can say, engulfed by a monster, Rakhas. and the outer layer, the first layer, discusses about the 12 links. If you see the from the Avijja, the all you can say 12 links have been depicted here. In the middle, there are the 5 types of you can say 6 types of you can say birth, where a person takes you can say birth. So these have been depicted. Because of the lack of time, I am not discussing all these things. And in the last, if you see, there are the 3 you can say figures, dove, serpent and pig. There are 3, and they have been depicted into red, green and the blue you can say figures. So these are the source of the you can say desire, Trishna, which are depicting you can say. And in the left side, if you see, there is a mark of the Tathagat Samyak Sambuddha, and in right side there is the you can say Avalokiteswara. And but in the earlier Thanka, we are not having the photograph of this you can say Sama Sambuddha and Avalokiteswar. There are 2 other photographs you can say, and the whole teachings of the Buddha, they have been you can say inscribed in all the you can say which has become more popular. Ye Dhamma Hetu Prabha Heti Dhamma Tesam Tathagato Avata Tesam Cha Nirodha Evam Badi Mahasamana. So this has become more popular in the Sanskrit, Tibetan, Chinese and South Korean, whatever the epigraphs and the you can say stones you will find. Even the monastery, the outer gate is having the you can say the depiction of the whole 12 links of the law of dependent origination. Now, how the development of the Patisamuchpada has been developed in our later you can say literature available in Pali language. By the time of the Third Buddhist Council, we are having the Kathavattu. And in the Kathavattu, in the 15th chapter, we are having the Pachayata Katha. And in Pachayata Katha, there is the description of only 15 types of you can say Pachayas. It seems that Rhys Davids, T.W. Rhys Davids has concluded that by the Third Buddhist Council, there was no any concept of 24 types of Pachayas, which constitute the whole, you can say, content of the Pathan, the last text of Abhidhamma Pitaka. So, these 12 links of the law of dependent originations, these were you can say developed as the 24 types of Pachayas or theory of relations in our later you can say Abhidhammic text and in the commentaries. That how you can say Patichatasmati Pachayo, how these Pachayas have become the 12 types of law of dependent origination. They were developed as the 24 types of Pachayas in the last text of Abhidhamma Pitaka, that is the Abhidhamma Pitaka, that is the Patthana Pakarana. So this is the you can say development of law of dependent origination in the you can say Kathavattu as well as in the you can say Patthana Pakarana. In the later you can say text, we are having the there is a comparison between the Patisamuchpada and the Pachay. That Patisamuchpada or law of dependent originations discusses that there are the 12 links which constitute the process of repeated existence. But the theory of relations discusses that all these 12 links are interrelated, you can say. Without one, another, there is no existence of the another. All the 12 links are interrelated. That is why they are called as you can say Pachay or the theory. So difference between in the later Abhidhammikas, in the Abhidhammat Sangho, in the 9th chapter, Acharya Anuruddha has discussed that how this Patisamuchpada has been developed as you can say Pachay theory. So this is the you can say again at the same time we are having the 4th century AD, that is the Abhidharma Kosh Acharya Vasubandhu. He also discusses about the you can say 6 types of hetus and the pratyas, you can say 4 pratyas. And even in Madhyamik Darshans we are having the same you can say 4 types of you can say hetus, that is the Hetu Pratyay, Alamman Pratyay, Adhipati Pratyay, and Samanantar Pratyay. These were the four preliminary and the basic relations which discusses about the law of dependent originations in the Madhyamik thought also and in the Sarvastivada tradition of Buddhism also. So this Acharya Aniruddha in the Abhidhamma Sangho, he has made a philosophical, you can say, development of law of dependent originations, that how they are interrelated with all 12 types of links. These are the 12 links. I have given the only the 20 names of the law of, you can say, theory of relations, that is the Pachayas. I am not going to discuss the whole, you can say, 24. Now, we are also finding this law of dependent originations as a theory of Pachaya, you can say, in other texts, you can say, but in the text Patisambhida, Mag, Kathavattu and Pathan, these are the texts which were discussing first of all about the theory of relations, that is the Pachaya. And simultaneously, we are also having in the Sarvastivada tradition, that is the Sariputra Abhidharma Shastra, in which there are the discussion of the 10 conditions, you can say. And in Gyanapasthana Shastra also we are having the 4 types of conditions. There is a, you can say, presumption that these two Sarvastivada traditions, Abhidharma traditions, and the Theravada Abhidharma traditions, both of them, they were developed, you can say, at a time, and both of them were discussing the same, you can say, law of dependent originations in their own philosophical manner. Now, how the later Acharyas have discussed, you can say, Hetu and Pachya. Acharya Buddha Ghosh in the magnum opus work Visuddhimagga, he has discussed there are 6 synonyms of the Hetu and the Pachya, that is the Pachya, Hetu, Karan, Nidan, Pabhav and Sambhava. These are the 6 synonyms which are occurring in the, you can say, Visuddhimagga. Although these 6 terms are also coming in the Suttas of the Sutta Pitaka, but not in that manner, whatever it has been developed by Acharya Buddha Ghosh in the, you can say, text Visuddhimagga. And here it is, the Pachya has been defined as Paticha Tasma Etiti Pachayo, that derived from a cause, there is an effect which comes out. So this is the definition which has been given by Acharya Buddha Ghosh. And Hetu has been defined as Mulathena Hetu, that Henoti Patithati, you can say Hetu. So Hetu are in the sense of the root, and the Pachayas are in the sense of rendering service. Upkarak Athena Pachayo and Mul Athena Hetu. Again, Hetu and Pachya, they have been discussed by Acharya Buddha Ghosh in the commentary of the Patthana, that Hetu Chasa Pachayo Chati Hetu Pachayo, that being a condition and having become as a condition, it is called as Hetu Pachya. And again it is said that Hetu Hutva Pachayo Hetu Bhavena Pachayoti. So like this is the, again Buddha Ghosh says that this term Hetu, Pachya, Karan, Nidan, Pabhav, Sambhav, these are only the, you can say, Vyanjan in the sense of the letters and the, you can say, sentence. All the meanings are the same, you can say. And lastly he says that Yohi Dhammo Yam Dhammas Apachakhai Tittati Va Pajati Va So Tas Upachayoti Bhuttam Bhuti. Next, in the Nityapakarana and Prakodesh, which are the 2, you can say, post-canonical literatures, they are also discussing about the, you can say, Hetu and the Pachya. In the Hetu and Pachya, it is said that Asadharan Lakkhanati Hetu and Sadharan Lakkhanati Pachya, that Hetu has the cause, has the characteristics of the uniqueness, and thus Sadharana Lakkhan is called as Pachya, you can say. Petkopadesh says that Swabhav and Parswabhav, these are the 2 terms for the Hetu and the Pachya. in the text of the Nityapakarana, it has been discussed by the author. Now, in the Abhidhamma in the 4th century, you can say 5th century, Acharya Buddha Ghosa has composed Abhidhamma Buddhadatta, sorry. Buddhadatta, sorry. And here Hetu and the Pacha has been discussed in a manner of the, you can say, Janaka and Anupalaka. Hetu is the, you can say, giving birth, and Pacha is in the sense of the nourishing, that is the Anupalaka. And again, Hetu is in the sense of the Bij, Ankura, and Pacha is in the sense of, you can say, servicing factor, that is the Upakaraka. Now, in the Sarvastivada traditions in Abhidharma Kosa, the 6 Hetus, we are having the concept of the 6 Hetus and the 4 Pratyaj. How these 4, you can say, Pratyaj and the 6 Hetus, they were also developing by the same time, you can say. And it shows that the Sarvastivadins were the first to make a distinction between the Hetu and the Pacha, or Pratyaya, you can say. And in the commentary, Acharya Vasubandhu says that, Jasomitra says that there is no distinction which has been drawn between the Hetu and the Pratyaya, and both are the synonymous. Now, again in the Abhidhamma Sangho, the whole 24 types of Pratyayas, or the theory of the relations, they have been reduced into 4. How the 12 links of the law of dependent origination, that is the Yam Kinchi Samudaya Dhammam Tam Sam Nirodha Dhammam, they were developed into 12 links. Again 12 links were developed into the 24 types of the relations, that is the Pachayas. Again the Acharyas, they were thinking that it is become too voluminous, and they have reduced all the 24 types of relations in only 4, that is the Kam, Athi, Upanishad and Arambana. These are the 4 relations under which all the 24 types of relations, you can say, they have been reduced. And now it arises an inquisitiveness that why the 24 types of Pachayas, they were reduced into 4 types of, you can say, relations. It is a matter of investigations, and for the sake of it can be said that the scholars were finding all the remaining 20 types of relations or Pachayas in these 4 types of, you can say, relations. Now, views of the modern scholars nowadays, the modern scholars are also discussing about these 24 types of relations, and you can say 12 types of 12 links of the law of dependent origination. A new book has come, Early Buddhist Metaphysics, the making of a philosophical tradition by Noah Ronkin. And here she has concluded that the Patthana theory of Pachaya is not about at all the theory of the cause and conditions, but it is in the sense of causal production. But here distinction in the characteristics of especially the Sarvastivada theory of 6 Hetus and the Pratyaj, although she suggests that something of distinctions is found within Theravadin sources as well. We have seen in the, you can say, Nityapakarana, Petkopadesh, Abhidhamma Avatar, how the Hetu and the Pacha, they have been marked as a distinction. But Rupert Gethin, he does not agree with the conclusion of the Noah Ronkin in the Early Buddhist Metaphysics, and he has contradicted the view of the Noah Ronkin. And he said that the views of the Noah Ronkin on the basis of the Nityapakarana, that is the Swabhav and Parabhav, and Petkopadesh, you can say, Sadharan Lakhana and Sadharan Lakhana, the characteristics of the Hetu and Pacha. Based upon that, Noah Ronkin has concluded this, that there is the only causal production, but there is no anything about the law of dependent origination. Now, there is a modern scholars, if only 2 minutes. Now, one modern scholars in Thailand, you might have heard Buddha Das. He has become one of the champion of, you can say, new trend of the Theravada Buddhism in Thailand. He has contradicted all the theories of the, you can say, three lifetime theory of law of dependent origination. That is the Atit, Pachupan and Anagat. And Buddhadas has also criticized the theories of propounded by Acharya Buddha Ghosh in the Visuddhimagga as well as in the commentaries of the Pathan Atkatha. And he says that this they have misinterpreted the whole, you can say, law of dependent origination. He says that if Buddha has become Buddha at the Bodhi tree and he got enlightenment, he would have died there itself, because there he has got the, you can say, cessation of the Tanha, and he has got the Nibbana. Then why he stayed for another, you can say, 45 years and he preached from one place to another place? So he says that there is no any, you can say, three period of the, you can say, whole law of dependent originations, and he discards the three lifetime theory, you can say. And he says that this theory, you can say, law of dependent origination is based upon only, you can say, interrelatedness. All these are, you can say, all 12 links from the Avijja to, you can say, Jati and Jaramaran. They are all interrelated with things. So all the modern scholars nowadays, the modern acharyas, they are also not agreeing with the law of dependent originations, and they are interpreting their own ways. So this is the conclusion what I have drawn, you can say, with my own research, you can say, which I have done, that there was no difference between Hetu and Pachya as the cause and condition respectively in the Nikayas. However, there is some distinction between the Hetu and Pachya in the Abhidhamma text and in the commentaries of the Abhidhamma text, Abhidhamma Pitaka. And there is a resemblance of the Hetu, you can say, understanding of the Hetu Pachya based upon the Patthana and the commentary with the concept of the 6 types of the Hetu Pratyaya of the Sarvastivada tradition. And now, you can say, there is a Theravada Patthana theory of Pachya and very distinction between Hetu and Pachya, where the result of the contemporary teachers and the acharyas as a philosophical, intellectual, you can say, milieu, and they were interpreted in their own ways at that time. Whether it is the Acharya Buddha Ghosh or Acharya Buddha Dutt, they have interpreted, or Acharya Aniruddha in the Abhidhamma Sangho in the 11th century, they have interpreted in their own manner. Thank you very much.
Now, house is open for discussion. You may put questions, queries, whatever you want to discuss, please come out.
सबसे पहले मैं माननीय वक्ता जी को बहुत आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ कि आपने थेरवाद के स्वरूप को बहुत ही सविस्तार व्यक्त किया है। मैं इस संबंध में 2 बातों का स्पष्टीकरण चाहता हूँ। एक तो आपने करुणा शब्द की वो जो व्युत्पत्ति की है, वो कम सुखम ऋणदीति करुणा, आपने ये किया है। और आप जानते हैं कि महायान में विशेष करके करुणा का बहुत ही महत्व है, और आप यूँ कह सकते हैं कि करुणा ही महायान का आधार है। और ये जो आपने अभी थेरवाद में कम सुखम ऋणदीति करुणा जो व्याख्या आपने की है, यही व्याख्या महायान और आगे जा कर के वज्रयान ग्रंथों में भी यही व्याख्या उपलब्ध है। और यहाँ कम सुखम ऋणदीति करुणा, तो कम का अर्थ है सुखम, और सुख को जो रोकता है, जो सुख को रोकता है वो करुणा है। अर्थात कि व्यक्ति जो है दूसरों के दुख को दूर करने के लिए अपने स्वसुख का एक तरह से न्योछावर कर देता है, यानी कि अपने को दुख रूप में ले आता है। यानी कि दूसरों के दुख को दूर करने के लिए व्यक्ति अपना सुख को त्याग देता है। ये कंसेप्शन जो है आगे महायान और वज्रयान में है। तो थेरवाद की परंपरा में क्या यही व्याख्या है या कुछ आप इसका कुछ अंतर करते हैं?
ये करुणा का जो शब्द है वो इंटरप्रेट किया गया है दो शब्दों से, कम प्लस ऋणाति धातु के अर्थ में आया है यहाँ पर। तो कम का अर्थ यहाँ पर दुख से लिया गया है, कम इति दुखम,
सुखम, कम इति सुखम
नहीं, यहाँ पर हम लोग एक तरह से जो शास्त्र में मिल रहा है कि कम इति दुखम,
दुखम किया है।
हाँ, तो यहाँ पर दुख का अर्थ ये है कि किसी को, इट इज नॉट ए वर्बल सिंपैथी, मतलब किसी को हम दुख को देखकर केवल हम एक महसूस करने की ही बात को करुणा नहीं कहते हैं। करुणा जब तक उस व्यक्ति के अंदर हम प्रवेश कर उसके दुख को हम जब तक दूर न कर दे तब तक वो करुणा नहीं कही जाएगी। तो ये एक तरह से करुणा का कंसेप्ट आया है कि कम इति दुखम ऋणाति इति तम पविशति विनाशाय बायमति च, दैट देयर मस्ट बी एन एफर्ट टू इंटर इनटू द पर्सनालिटी ऑफ ए बीइंग एंड टू इरेडिकेट द सफरिंग ऑफ दैट पर्सन, दैट इज कॉल्ड एज। लेकिन यहाँ पर जो करुणा का कंसेप्ट हमने बतलाया, अविहिंसा, यहाँ पर 3 प्रकार के जो एक तरह से संकल्प बतलाया गया, राइट डिटर्मिनेशन, निखम संकल्पो, अव्यापाद संकल्पो, अविहिंसा संकल्पो। यहाँ पर अविहिंसा जो है दैट वेयर देयर इज द टोटल अब्सेंस ऑफ द वायलेंस। यहाँ पर विहिंसा, अविहिंसा के रूप में यहाँ अविहिंसा करुणा को लिया गया है। अविहिंसा हैज बीन इंटरप्रेटेड एज करुणा। करुणा that is not a verbal sympathy, but it is an effort to enter into the personality and how a person eradicates the suffering of that person. So that is karuna.
अच्छा, फिर इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि थेरवाद में कम का अर्थ किया है दुखम,
हाँ, दुख,
जबकि महायान शास्त्रों में और आगे जाकर के वज्रयान शास्त्रों में कम इति सुखम किया है।
हो सकता है, ये हमको आइडिया नहीं है।
नहीं,
अब
अब सुखम का अर्थ ये हुआ कि अब वो एकदम से सूक्ष्म होता चला गया कि सुख मतलब दूसरों के दुख को दूर करने के लिए स्वसुख का त्याग। तो इसका मतलब हम ये क्या यहाँ पर ऐसे कह सकते हैं कि यहाँ पर एकदम से वो सूक्ष्म दृष्टि आया है, क्योंकि थेरवाद में दूसरों के दुख को दूर करना यानी कि एक उसका करुणा का सामान्य रूप आया है। और फिर आगे जा करके महायान और वज्रयान में कम दुखम की जगह जब सुखम करते हैं तो इसका अर्थ और इसकी जो सूक्ष्मता और इसकी वो जो क्या कहते हैं गंभीरता है वो बहुत आगे जाके पड़ जाती है। क्या हम कुछ ऐसा कह सकते हैं?
महायान के बारे में हमको ज़्यादा जानकारी नहीं है कि कैसे मतलब करुणा को वहाँ पर डेवलप किया गया है, लेकिन करुणा के बारे में तो वहाँ पर प्रज्ञा और उपाय सबसे पहले हम लोग भी देखते हैं कि माध्यमिक दर्शन में या और विधि दर्शन में बात के जो है करुणा और प्रज्ञा का कंसेप्ट दिया गया। लेकिन यहाँ पर करुणा सबसे ज़्यादा आजकल मतलब जो है एम्फेसिस दिया जा रहा महायान में भी कि करुणा के बिना हम दूसरा कुछ कर ही नहीं सकते हैं। करुणा का सबसे ज़्यादा महत्व दिया गया है। इवन कि दलाई लामा जी भी अपने सभी वक्तव्य में कम से कम करुणा का उल्लेख जरूर करते हैं और करुणा का महत्व है। बिना करुणा के हम कुछ डेवलप नहीं कर सकते हैं।
और एक और प्रश्न है मेरा, और आपने द्वादशांग प्रत्युत समुत्पाद के अंतर्गत आपने नाम रूप का जिक्र किया है, तो उसमें नाम रूप का हेतु विज्ञान है ना जी? विज्ञान के बाद नाम रूप आता है, तो विज्ञान तो प्योर माइंड है, राइट? उसके बाद जो नाम और रूप है उसमें माइंड और मैटर दोनों है। तो माइंड और मैटर दोनों एक साथ कैसे रह सकता है, इसका थोड़ा सा व्याख्या चाहिए। क्यों? क्योंकि आगे जा कर के तंत्र में वायु और चित्त दोनों जो अभिन्न रूप से रहता है, ये वहाँ पर स्थापित मान्यता है। और आगे जाकर के तंत्र में आप वायु को जब अपने वश में करते हैं तो आपका जो माइंड है वो खुद अपने आप वश में आ जाता है। तो ये सारा सिस्टम डेवलप्ड है। तो थेरवाद में जो नाम रूप का स्वरूप है, थोड़ा हम उसको जानना चाहते हैं, यहाँ क्या स्वरूप है, या फिर आप लोग इसको कैसे व्याख्या करते हैं?
नाम के बारे में धम्मसंगिनी में कहा गया है, वहाँ पर प्रश्न भी पूछा गया है कि तत्कतमम नामम, कि वो नाम क्या है। उसके उत्तर में कहा गया है वेदना खंदो, संज्ञा खंदो, संखार खंदो, बियान खंदो, असंख्यता च धातु इदम बुच्यति नामम। वेदना, संज्ञा, संखार, ये तीनों मिलाकर वेदना एक, संज्ञा एक, संखार 50, 52 प्रकार के चेतसिक कहे जाते हैं। बियान 89 या 121 टाइप्स के हमारे चित्त कहे जाते हैं। इन सभी को मिलाकर और इसके साथ असंख्यत धातु, असंख्यत धातु यहाँ पर निर्वाण के रूप में कहा गया है। फिर कहा भी गया है कि असंख्यत क्या है, तब कहा कि यो धम्मा अपचया सो असंख्यता, दैट व्हाट एवर द धम्माज विच आर अराइजिंग, which are not arising on any cause and condition, they are called as uncomposite और असंख्यत। तो यहाँ पर नाम के साथ वेदना, संज्ञा, संखार, बियान और असंस्कृत धर्म, जो कि किसी भी पच्चय और हेतु पर आधारित नहीं है, इसका नाम एक तरह से दिया गया, एक नाम मतलब जो है। फिर मिलिंद पहियों में भी आचार्य नागसेन से जब राजा मिलिंद पूछते हैं कि तत्कतमम नामम, नाम रूप क्या है, तब कहते सूक्ष्म चित्त चेतसिका धम्मानम ती नामम। सूक्ष्म सटल नेम ऑफ द चित्त एंड चेतसिक, बोथ आर यू कैन से, चित्त एंड चेतसिक को ही हम नाम कहते हैं। तो यहाँ पर वेदना, संज्ञा, संखार चेतसिक हो गया, बियान को हम चित्त कहते हैं। ये चित्त चेतसिक मिलकर ही नाम का रूप हम करते हैं। ये मनुष्य, हम लोगों को कई प्रकार से वर्गीकरण किया गया है कि यह मनुष्य जो है 5 स्कंदों से बना हुआ है, रूप स्कंद, वेदना स्कंद, संज्ञा स्कंद, संस्कार स्कंद, विज्ञान स्कंद। दूसरे वर्गीकरण के अनुसार कहा जाता है कि यह हमारा शरीर जो है चित्त चेतसिक रूप से बना हुआ है। दूसरे वर्गीकरण के अनुसार कहा जाता है कि यह शरीर जो है हमारा नाम और रूप से बना हुआ है। तो एक ही चीज़ है, सब पंचखंड है, चित्त चेतसिक रूप है या नामन रूप है।
While listening to your lecture, some confusion arose in my mind. And the first confusion is, when you just started giving your lecture, you said that Theravada is the real and actual teaching. Second thing, before reaching the end of your lecture, you gave the, said the meaning of death is when the destruction of the 5 aggregates takes place, that state is called death. Now, my question is, if we say that Theravada is the real and actual teaching, will you give proper message to the society? And second one is, if the destruction of the 5 aggregates takes place, that state is called death, how will we elucidate the system of rebirth?
Thank you very much. So, as per our traditions, everyone says that our, you can say, tradition is the earlier one. Even Sanskrit traditions also says that we are the earlier one. But Theravada themselves claim that we are the real, you can say, upholders of the original teachings of the Buddha. Although this we are saying that all the teachings of the Buddha in the Theravada traditions are available in the Pali, and this Pali and the teachings of the Buddha were uttered in Magadhi language, and Pali is the standardized language in which all the teachings of the Buddha have been compiled at the time of the Bhatta Gamani Abhay in Sri Lanka. So this is the Pali language in which the teachings of the Buddha, you can say, have been compiled. And there is a tradition that in the Third Buddhist Council, how Mahendra and Sanghmitra, they came to Sri Lanka via, you can say, Sanchi, Upadisa, Avanti, Lat, Gujarat, Andhra, and then they were going to the Tamparani, that is the Sri Lanka. And in that route, there were so many intermixtures of the you can say regional dialects also. In the Avanti, there was a, you can say, hold of the Mahisasak group of the Theravada, and others you can say Saurashtra, and others you can say regional language were also you can say affecting that original Magadhi language. So as per our traditions, that whatever the teachings we are getting, and even in Sanskrit scholars, they are also saying that your texts are coming after the Acharya Buddha Ghosa in the 5th century AD. Before that, there was no any, you can say, teachings of the Buddha in Pali language literature, because Acharya Buddha Ghosa was the first one who brought all the commentaries from Sri Lanka. And then we are having the all the, you can say, text. And Sanskrit scholars are saying that our texts are available from the 1st century AD. So we are the, you can say, original, you can say, earlier, you can say, holder of the teachings of the Buddha. So that is another way, but there is another, our tradition Theravada, that for the Theravadins, it is said that it always fought Mahasanghikas and or other, you can say, orthodox or the heterodox to preserve, to guard, to protect the original teachings which were handed from the first Buddhist council, Mahakassapa, and the earlier, you can say. So this is another, you can say. Regarding the Marana, you have told that whenever there is the total destruction of the Panchakhandas, how there is the rebirth, you can say. So here there is in Abhidhamma tradition, it has been discussed in a very detailed manner that how you can say there is a Chitta Santati, you can say, that is the Rupa Khand, Vedana Khand, Sanya Khand, Sankhar Khand, and Vijnana Khand. These are the 5 aggregates. They are disintegrating, but there are some of the things that is which are not, you can say, eliminating. That is the Kammaj Rupa. Out of the 28 Rups, there are the Kammaj Rupa. There are altogether 9 types of Kammaj Rupa. If you that is the 5 Pasad Rupa, to Jivit Indriya, that is the, you can say, Ithindriya, Prusindriya, and 8th is the Jivit Indriya, and lastly there is the Hadavatu. These are the 9 Dhammas or states which are called as Kammaja, and they are helping, you can say, our consciousness, that is the beyond, and which is associated with the Anusay. Anusay is one of the factors. There are 7 types of Anusayas which are lying in the subconscious manner with the consciousness, and whenever they are finding their own time based upon the resultant of the moral and immoral actions, they are activated, and then they, you can say, take birth. Again there is a tradition that how Hadaivattu, there is a concept Hadaivattu. In the Hadaivattu, how the consciousness beyond in the form of a, you can say, a small tip of the, you can say, honey bee, how it is joins in the Hadaivattu, and then there is the formation of the Nam and Rupa, you can say, in the arm of the mother, you can say, and it comes based upon the resultant of, you can say, moral and immoral actions done in our past existence. You see?
Yeah.
I appreciate your deliberation. You have deliberated the things within the stipulated time. But you have told about the 4 noble truths. The last one, there is a path which leads to the cessation of suffering. And you gave a 8-fold path for that one. But you said that this is the middle.
Majjhima Patipada.
Yes, middle
path.
Yes. So I don't understand why it is called as a middle. Is there other paths? There are extremes one, or why you told this as a middle path?
We have already discussed in our lecture that Buddha says that there are 2 extremes which should not be followed by a person who has renounced household life. Dve anta pabjite na savitabba. So what are the katme dve anta? So now kamesu kam sukhlikan yogo, and there is the first one. Kamesu kam sukhlikan yogo, that is the association with the desire for sensual pleasure. And another is the atkil mathan yogo, that is the association with the self mortification. You can say giving penance to oneself. These are the two extremes, and Buddha says that these two are anarya and anatha sahito. These are not giving any meaningful life, you can say. And in between that, he says that these are the two extremes. In between that, there is the middle path. There is neither association with the sensual pleasure, nor there is the giving self penance or penance to the self. In middle, you can say there is a path which is called as, you can say, Arya Athangiko Maggo. That path which was, you can say, realized by the Buddha, and it gives wisdom to the eye, it leads towards the state of eternal bliss, Nibbana Samatati. So these are the things, that is why it is called as middle path, you can say. So in between these two extremes, there is the middle path. Again, Buddha says that Katmacha sa majima patipada tatha gatina abhisambuddha chakshu karni yan karni upsambhay nibbanay samatati. Then he says that ayame or yothangiko maggo. This is the eightfold path, you can say. And that is another in the very abridged form, Sil, Samadhi and Panya. All the eightfold path has been summarized into 3-stepped path.
Thank you.
आपका लेक्चर व्याख्यान बहुत अच्छा रहा, इसके लिए आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई। एक छोटी सी एक सामान्य सी जानकारी है, जनरल क्वेरी है सर, क्या थेरवाद में इस पर भी कुछ प्रकाश डाला गया है? सर मेरी एक छोटी सी जिज्ञासा है कि जब हम करते हैं फोर नोबल ट्रुथ की बात, फोर नोबल ट्रुथ, अब उसमें दुख को ही दर्शाया गया है कि दुख है, दुख का कारण है, दुख का निवारण संभव है, दुख निवारण का मार्ग। लेकिन सामान्य रूप से देखने में आता है कि सुख के बिना तो जीवन चल ही नहीं सकता है। तो सर क्या इसमें इस पर बताया गया है कि दुख को नोबल ट्रूथ क्यों नहीं माना गया, वो सुख को नोबल ट्रूथ क्यों नहीं माना गया, सुख को नोबल ट्रूथ के अंतर्गत क्यों नहीं रखा गया?
नहीं,
क्योंकि सुख से ही तो जीवन चलता है।
नहीं वो जो नहीं आपका जो प्रश्न है उसके उत्तर में जो चौथा आर्य सत्य है, दुख निरोध कामनी पटिपदा आर्य सच्चम, उसमें तो दुख को शांत करके हम सुख को तो प्राप्त कर ही रहे हैं। निर्वाण की स्थिति को जो प्राप्त कर रहे हैं वो सुख पद है, संत पद है, निर्वाण पद है, मतलब जो है तो वो सुख की तो बात हो ही रही है। ये तो जब तक हम निर्वाण को प्राप्त नहीं करेंगे, सुख की स्थिति हम प्राप्त नहीं कर पाएंगे, तो वो सुख की तो बात हो ही रही है। सबसे पहले दुख बतला रहे हैं, दुख का कारण बतला रहे हैं, दुख का निरोध बतला रहे हैं, उसके बाद कैसे दुख को निरोध करने के मार्ग पर अग्रसर होकर एक आदमी सुख या निर्वाण को प्राप्त कर सकता है। सुख तो हम प्राप्त कर ही रहे हैं, सुख की बात तो उसमें कही गई है, वो आर्य सांगिक मार्ग के द्वारा ही हम प्राप्त कर सकते हैं।
जी जी जी।
Gyan Prakash, actually I just wanted to know about the ignorance, the concept of ignorance in Theravada, and basically how does it work? If you see this Advaita Vedanta philosophy and concept of Maya, now the modernist scholar are saying that this Maya is not metaphysical but epistemological, because what you said, this ignorance is perceiving X is as Y is ignorance, right? So how does it work in Theravada Buddhism, this ignorance?
इग्नोरेंस जो आप बतला रहे हैं माया वाली बात, उसके बारे में तो हम ज़्यादा नहीं बता सकते हैं, क्योंकि उसका मेरे पास कोई उस तरह का अध्ययन नहीं है। जहाँ तक मोह की बात है, मोह को बतलाया गया है कि मोह धम्म स्वभाव पटिछादन लक्षणाति मोह, that ignorance has the characteristics to cover the nature of the reality. यहाँ पर कवर ऑफ द नेचर रियलिस्टिक है कि ऑल थिंग्स आर सब्जेक्ट टू इम्परमानेंस, ऑल थिंग्स आर सब्जेक्ट टू सफरिंग, ऑल थिंग्स आर सब्जेक्ट टू सोललेस. When a person does not know these three types of, you can say, anicca, dukha and anatta, he is in the state of moha.
So does it mean that this is an epistemological concept?
अब इसके बारे में हम नहीं बता सकते हैं कि epistemological, how can you derive it in a epistemological manner.
The sense means there is an error in your perceiving. Like, see, there is a x, but you are perceiving x as a y, right? This is, yeah. This is what epistemological concept is. Even in Buddhism, is an epistemological concept.
Now, Professor Devkar will clarify on this point.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'll just say yes right now, and maybe during my talk I'll talk about this.
Because he is he is going to present his paper on this very aspect, so he will elaborate his.
The last question, please. Last question.
Sir, thank you for your nice presentation, but I have just a small comments to make that from your lecture it seems that these are two totally separate things. One is the Four Noble Truths and the other is the doctrine of dependent origination or Paticca Samuppada. But actually this might be a wrong understanding of me, but I think that these two are very much closely related, because in fact what was Buddha's intention? Eradication of suffering. So the fact is suffering. Now in our ordinary life we find that when we are suffering from a particular disease, suppose viral fever or anything, when a doctor comes, what he first tries, his intention is to eliminate or to get rid of that viral fever. So for that reason, what he does, he first makes some diagnosis. He will ask us to get some sort of investigation. So that is, he wants to find out the cause of that viral fever. And then what he will do, he will say that this is the cause of your viral fever, and so after that he will provide us the medicines and the different sorts of ways of life what we are to lead to get rid of that fever. That the same procedure we will find in the case of Buddha. The fact is that we are suffering. This is a fact of life. So as a great medical practitioner, I will say that Vaishajya Guru, he is trying to find out that he thinks that this suffering is not the last point. So what is the last point is that elimination of suffering, and for this cessation of suffering we have to find out the root cause, and to find out the root cause he has formulated the Paticca Samuppada, and by following the Paticca Samuppada we will be able to find out the Ashtangika Marga that will enable us to get rid of the fact of suffering. So I think that these Four Noble Truths is very much related with the Paticca Samuppada.
Yes.
So these are not totally distinct entities, but are very closely related. So this is my observation.
No, you are very much right in interpreting this theory, and even when Buddha got enlightenment, he realized the Four Noble Truths, and if you Four Noble Truths, within the Four Noble Truths we are having this law of dependent origination. If you go through the second noble truth, Dukkha Samudaya Arya Satyam, it is said that Yayam Tanaha Punobhavika Nandi Rag Sagata Tatra Tatra Abhinandani Setitam Kamatanha Bhautana Vibhotana. Yayam Tanaha Punobhavika. Here Punobhavika is nothing but the law of dependent origination. All the Punobhavika Bhava, that is the process of a repeated existence from the Abhijja to Jara Marana, they have been interpreted here, you can say, in the second noble truth. So all, you can say, 12 types of links of the law of dependent originations are coming under the second noble truth. And then he found that what may be the, you can say, cessation of this whole 12 types of link of process of repeated existence. Then he found that there is a middle path or Arya Athangiko Maggo. So these 12 links are already inside the, you can say, Four Noble Truth.
But just from your lecture, the two things seem to be separate. So those who are not from the Buddhist discipline,
No, I have interpreted because these two topics, separate topics, were given by our organizers to
So I think
speak.
that it should
You can
be-
say it should be like that.
seen as a whole, as a
as
total
a
whole.
correlated with
Yes,
that. So that is why I have interpreted in a separate manner.
Yeah, no, I just kind of add something to the discussion which was going on earlier. The two things. Earlier, I think there was a question about Karuna, and about that, just one comment I would like to add here. That is, Karuna as a Chetasika is always interpreted as a wish to remove others' suffering. So it actually does not involve actual efforts for it, because a Chetasika, it should be a mental factor, and as a mental factor, it simply means a wish to remove others' suffering. So that's one thing, and I mean this the one etymological explanation which Vimalendra Kumar has given. I mean that is one of the several etymologies, but it is also interpreted differently in the other commentaries. That one thing. Second thing is about, there was one question regarding the destruction of Panchaskandhas, and that is called death. So I think as Dr. Vimalendra Kumar did not say destruction, what he was saying is disintegration.
Yes.
So destruction of five skandhas will actually mean nirvana, means ultimate nirvana. There's nothing remaining. So, but what he was saying was disintegration and not destruction. That's one addition which I want to do. That's all. Thank you very much.
Now friends, since the time is up, now we have to close the discussion here. And the same discussion may continue in the next two sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir.